Hello, welcome in. This is Laura of Laura's Stamping Legacy Studio. And if you are finding me, we are here on Mondays for our Makers Monday. This is Makers Monday number, what number are we up to? Makers Monday number 42. Oh, good. Oh, Sharon, I see you're watching. I don't know if you can speak. You've told me your dilemma. Don't know if I should out you or not. Good, there's a few more people watching. Who else is here? You'll need to update me. I was rushing at the end. Hi, Tanya, can you hear me? I'm trying to use the little ear pod thing to make sure, but it's strange when you do that. So let me know if you can hear me in the comments, please. Hi, Renee, welcome in. If you can't hear me, let me know that. Oh, good, good. I'm glad you can hear me. At the last minute, I thought I had everything ready and I forgot these little things. Hooray, you can hear me too, Renee. Great. I wish I could say I'm really ready and organized, but typical me, threw it together at the last minute. But we'll have fun. Um, I already introduced myself and did all that. So as people come in, I'm going to start with I got a box today. So that was very exciting. And it's items from the new catalog that's coming in January. So the things that I ordered came. So I will share that with you. That'll be the first thing we do. I just want to say first that with the holidays and all the tragedy with the weather and everything, just I'm feeling closer than ever to everybody. I mean, the holidays do that naturally, but we've just all had to come together with everything going on. And that's no better time than then to make cards and gift cards. I was pulling together things for a donation box today, and I still had some cards that I made for the National Guard. So I'm going to throw those in with the other things to send down to Mayfield and the other communities down there. So they can certainly use that. So, but anyway, I kind of always turn to my cards because it's just the one thing you can do to reach out to someone very easily. So, but then after we do the catalog preview items, I'm going to move right into talking about ink and stamp pads and things like that. So, and then after that, we're going to have our drawing. I had 6 people complete the tag challenge. I know Tanya, you did yours, and Renee, you got yours done as well. I'm actually going to draw 2 prizes today out of those 6 names. So that'll be after the quick little demo about ink. So if I can do that quickly, I don't know. You guys know me well. So I think I have these set wrong because they feel a little bit funny. I can kind of hear myself. I'll have to play with them more. But as long as you can hear me, that's all good. So let me turn this down and then I'll make sure that we can see everything and I'll get working and showing you things that we're going to do today. So stick with me for a second here and go ahead and ask people and invite people to come in that aren't here. So, oh good, it's working a little better. I tried something new today too. I don't want to talk upside down, but I actually started the live in the event. So that might be, and I didn't tag anybody. So that may be a little tricky for some people. Let me check on the computer real quick. Make sure that this is going on here. It does say there. It might be hiding in the events. So it might be, oh good, look at that. We can actually see everything. So I'm thinking this is like when I do a room in our group, and if people are coming to my page looking for it, they may not find it until they go into the events. So maybe we'll have to watch for that. I'll keep an eye out on my messages too to see if anyone's lost. Let's see. No, somebody likes that. Oh, cool. All righty. Sorry, ladies, just doing a little background work here. What have you all been up to? Feel free to talk amongst yourselves. as we're getting this set up. Oh, no, I can't find my live. Huh? But I know you could see it, so that's a good thing. There we are. And that looks better. Okay, so these are the catalogs. I'm not allowed to open them. That's some rule we have. But coming in January, we'll have another celebration period, which will be 2 months, basically. And then I'll put that aside since we can't look at anything. Not allowed to open it. And then this is our new catalog. So going towards spring, getting us out of winter by the time we're done with the catalog. So the beautiful tulips and windmills. Guess this will be popular for overseas people, but I think that's gorgeous. And I've seen people do neat things already with those windmills. Look like little cookies to me, those special cookies. But right here, first thing you're seeing, I know there's a lot here, but I ordered a suite for the first time. This is more than the suite. This is everything that was new on the table to show you. But it's called the New Horizons was the suite I ordered. And I don't order suites often, so that was fun for me. So this really spoke to me for doing my sunsets and stuff. And there's a lot of neat things. I just couldn't. It's on the how some demonstrators get one of everything that they want, but I got this and was thrilled. So first off, there's the stamp set with a coordinating die. Some nice sentiments. I always like things like relax. I even like that for birthdays. Breathe. We could all use that one, right? Wishing you happiness, thinking of you, thanks for everything. This is like some weathered wood panel, like you might find on a floor somewhere or on a wall. And then these are great for silhouettes in the sunset. And I love having more than 3 birds. I like having the flock. So that will be gorgeous in the sky. And these are, anytime you may wonder, we have 2 kinds of stamps. We have the ones that are the red rubber cling, and then we have the photopolymer. Usually when it's a more detailed stamp like this, it has to be that red rubber polymer to get the really fine artistic details that you see in some of these. So that's why this one's a red rubber. And then I'll have to put my, to separate my little pieces off the back to get my stamps put together once I work with this. But I just received it today, so no chance to get anything together. Coordinating with this, and this does not need to be here. Hang on, that's something I need for later. Is the dies, which are right here, the Horizon dies. So I have not even opened this yet. So there are more dies than the stamp sets, but they all coordinate together to help you create those sunset scenes. So in here we go. Really pretty. So there's, can go back to the stamp set. This one here would go over those, the wood, and then the other one that matches up, there's only 2 that match up really. That matches the wood, and this matches your little tufts of wheat or grass. The trees really don't match up. It looks like they do, but they have more trees. So this is a whole different setup. I mean, you could cut that out and then stamp those with it. This is some little houses in the distance. I've seen mock-ups in the catalog of these little fences, and you cut them out and you can have them creating like a path down to the beach. It's a really pretty. There's another stamp set that coordinates to do backgrounds for beaches and stuff, and I might have to get that one. Different things you could cut out to make hills or whatever. And this one's really neat. This reminds me of that paper pumpkin we had with the mountains in it, and it had 2 different things you could cut out. So this would look like it had snow-capped mountains, and then this would be the cutout for the whole mountain. All right. So those are your dies. And this is all new stuff for those of you. I just saw someone new came in. Trying to watch for comments. I'm sorry if I'm not seeing. Oh, good. I see that Cindy and Sylvia have come on. Hello, girls. We're doing a little preview of the items that came today. So that's the stamp set and the dies that go with the on the horizon, New Horizons. And then there were some embellishments that go with it. There were these neat little pebbles. I think there's 3 different colors. A gray, doesn't tell you on here. Looks like a basic gray or a smoky slate, and maybe a Sahara sand or a cobblestone or something. Very, very neat. New. Then there's another set of these too that's called Sea Glass in the catalog. I did not get that one, but also there was ribbon that went along with this. A very nice, I think it's petal pink. Does it tell me? It does not tell me, but I believe that was petal pink and Misty Moonlight. So, and believe it or not, that's not the coordinating paper. This right here is the coordinating paper. Let me set this aside. This was all the Horizon Suite in the new catalog coming in January. This right here is the Horizon paper, the 6x6. And just really interesting how they did this. It almost looks already like the grass and the sky, the sun. You know I love sunsets. Excuse me. I don't know if you guys have a holiday drink. I've got a little almond nog with just a touch of rum and nutmeg in it. It's really good for soothing your throat so you can keep talking. So you got 4 of those, and there's an alternate back. Whoops, must have picked up another one. An alternate back to that. That's a very bright pink. I forget the colors in here. Does it tell me? Blackberry Bliss, Bumblebee, Calypso Coral, Evening Evergreen, Fresh Freesia, Garden Green, Misty Moonlight, Old Olive, Pale Papaya, Polished Pink, and Soft Succulent. So this is a polished pink. Very pretty. I don't have that color yet. It's one of the in colors this year. Look at this one. A lot more detail. So you see some flowers on the grasses and like all layers of hillsides all the way up to the sky. Beautiful. I just love this when I saw it in the catalog. And not everything is always available. So, excuse me, I was thrilled to see that this was available to us. Sometimes some things are delayed for us as well. A background there. There's another one, very artistic. Looks like a bit of a lake maybe in the distance. Or a Rorschach blot, right? Excuse me. Oh, wow, look at that. I could see that for a Halloween card. That's kind of neat. I don't know. This is one I might like to use the different sides. There's another one. I see like a lake here. Sunset in the trees. It's not quite a Bob Ross painting, right? Something like it. That's that Fresh Freesia, I believe. There's one here. It's different. It's like the red, like putting a red filter on a sunset or something. Oh, look at that. That's that Blackberry Bliss. Like a really, really abstract watercolors. There's another one. Just different colors. Interesting. Really neat. I wonder what I'm going to do with these. There's the next 4. That to me looks like clear water. So you could use the stamps and stamp in there and to embellish and make more of the images. Oh, look at this. This would be the mountains, maybe. What do you see in these? You'll have to talk amongst yourselves. I've got my iPad set up for the drawing. Oh, look at that one. I like that. Clear blue sky. Oh, I love that purple. The purples when you get to the very end of the sunsets. And the sky, maybe it's a stormy sky. Let's hope not. We don't need any more storms. I did hear them say that we have more weather coming from the west. Hopefully it goes north of us. I like that one. That one's pretty. Ooh, look at all the purples. I know we got purple fans. Renee, Tanya, favorite colors, right? I cannot see comments today. It is messing me up a little bit. If I can click it bigger. I'll have to look at these later. There it is. There we are. Oh, is someone having trouble? Sorry you're having trouble. Hang in there. I hope it's not on my end. Look at this. This would be pretty. If you do upside down, it would be the sky at night. Look how pretty that is. Oh, so anyway, that's the suite, the Horizon suite. I better move it along. We got a lot to do tonight. And I did buy some other things in addition to, I have two more items that were out of the catalog itself. And I kind of bought this to go along with the sunsets. This is a background stamp. This is one big stamp. And again, it'd have to be on the red rubber. And it's supposed to be waves. Ocean waves, waves in the lake. I just thought that would really enhance. And I've seen some really pretty things with subtle, or you can be bolder. Thought that was really would complement. And then this is really neat. That's the first I've seen this in the catalog. Slimline envelopes. 3 different colors, and they're not lined. That's actually inside is printed. So isn't that neat? And scalloped. That's the they open at the end, and there are these big long envelopes. See that? So I just couldn't resist getting these, and we'll have to. You know what that means? There'll be some slimline cards in the future. I know we just completed a challenge. I'm giving everyone, including myself, Christmas off from challenges. But maybe in the new year, we'll do a slimline challenge with this inspiration from these new envelopes going to be in the next catalog. So that combined with some base items that I bought and the catalogs, which I'm going to try to get out Wednesday at the latest to deliver catalogs locally. So be on the lookout for that. But I was able to get 3 celebration items. And those of you who don't know, most of you do, when it's a celebration period, which will be January, February, as demonstrators, we pre-order and we get the month ahead of time to add up for celebration items. Spend $50 before tax and shipping and you get 1 item. So the first thing I got was this really adorable stamp set called Awesome Otters. It's birthday time. You are utterly awesome. This little guy's got a fish. This little guy's just like, hey, what's up? And this one's swimming. I'll have to use that, maybe some of that paper or maybe that background stamp of the waves. I've seen some cute things with these too already though. So these are, again, the red rubber. These would be great for coloring, and we're going to be talking, I'm not going to be doing coloring tonight, but as we talk about ink, you almost have to talk about coloring and paper just a little bit. But this is just one celebration item coming, so get excited for that. And then I got 2 papers. Might as well do the big one first because we're all looking at that. Look at this. This is called Daffodil Afternoon, I believe. Yep. Basic black, crushed curry, daffodil delight, evening evergreen, flirty flamingo, mint macaron, mossy meadow, pale papaya, pear, pizzazz, and very vanilla. That makes it a little Victorian when they use the very vanilla. This is that evergreen, very dark. Just look at the colors. This one's blowing me away. And I always think, oh, more flowers, but, and I don't see the black in here, but I guess there is a little. If you look at the small flowers. Excuse me. Need an allergy pill. So nice big 12 by 12. There are likely 2 sheets of each. Excuse 1 second while I take something to help with that tickle. Well, oh wow. The next 2 are what I bought, and so what's on the back side? Ooh, interesting. Kind of a Madras look to that. That'd be really neat. These I love, and they did this with the sheets like these. They did this with that tree paper where you can cut it in half, and then you'll cut it in 4s, and you'll have card panels. So you'll be able to do 6 cards with those as panels. Just beautiful. And there's, oh, a nice stripe. Coordinates very well. Ooh, looks like we're in one of those animated bug movies where you're down inside the plants, doesn't it? Little forget-me-nots. Oh, what are these little guys? Little bugs? Little hearts. Little green hearts. Isn't that something? Pretty. Oh, and there's the black mixed in. Daffodils come in so many colors. I think I only have one variety out back, but I know some people have all different variations of the inside stems being different colors and the outside petals. And there's a polka dot offset. And that looks like bumblebee to me. Very, very bright. Nice though, very nice. Oh, just a black. It's almost hard to look at. And oh, and here's a nice pattern as well. So this is another of the celebrations. So get excited, that's coming. That was the bigger one. And then this is called Marvelous with a B, not a V. And this is all paper that looks like it's marbled. So there's always 6 or 8. I think there's 8 of these as you go. So there's a pink. What are our colors in here? Balmy blue, basic gray, blushing bride, bumblebee, coastal cabana, flirty flamingo, gorgeous grape, highland heather, misty moonlight pool party, smoky slate, and so saffron. Look at that. So here's the first one. And it really has a opaque, marbly look to it. Ooh, oh wow. It's like a mod 60s laughing type backdrop, right? So I guess they're all going to have that on the back. Oh wow. Oh, this will work great with that tie-dye background stamp set too. I know that was, some of you got that one. Got a whole wild California beach vibe going on. Purple marble. I don't know how many colors marble actually comes in, but it almost looks like liquid metal. Oh, I like this one. I really like this one. That's a green. Some of the green colors. Okay, this is just a more regular neutral. I think it did say basic gray. Oh yeah, look at that. This would make a great masculine card. And then the blue. Oh, wow. Isn't that something? Really cool. All right, so that is the end of the little product display. I'm sorry, I know we're running long. I know we want to get to the challenge drawing. I hope I still have you all. Oh, yay, hooray for our kids, right, Renee? They know how to work technology. I don't know what I'd do without my son. All right, so let's talk about ink. And I know you're probably wondering, oh, ink, why do we have to talk about ink? Well, I had actually one of my downlines of one of my customers, more than one, had a couple issues with ink pads. So I thought, well, let's do a quick little tutorial about ink and all the things, everything ink. So, and back a while ago, before everything went technology and cyber, and there were actually like newsletters and magazines, Stampin' Up! Used to do a magazine for the demonstrators. And I'm not sure if this was one I received just as I joined or if this is one I found at a garage sale from an older demonstrator. But this really quickly outlined inks and the basics of ink. So there are basically 3 kinds of ink. And I think I'm going to start with the water-based dye ink first, which most of you have, the water-based dye ink. I mean, that's what we all start with. It's what the little ink spots are in our paper pumpkins. So, and that's the water-based dye ink is what you find. Apologize for the noise there. In all the base stamp pads that we have. So, and so when it comes to that, there's pads that are water-based, and there are markers that are water-based. If I can find them. They were here a minute ago. I did have a lot of stuff out today. Right. So, and the markers that are water-based. We also have markers that are alcohol-based. Those are our Stampin' Blends, but these are our Stampin' Right. So Stampin' Right are the right ones to use to color stamp pads. Stampin' Blend are the ones to use for blending color once it's already been stamped. Well, for coloring in, basically. So, so when you get your stamp pad, they're all sealed up. Let's start with that. And then we'll talk about storage. But when it comes to the water base, let me have one that's open. This is one that's brand new. Let me get one that's open. Here we go. So this is one that's already been opened. So the stamp pads, to open them, you just pop up a little bit. Well, I usually push down here to pop it up. You swing them around and then you push it back. That's how you open one. And you pull this a little, swing it around, do that. So if you notice when you do that, after you've swung it, when you're this way, here's the top of the stamp pad. When you swing it around, the top of the stamp pad is now upside down. That's the proper way for your stamp pad to always be stored. Is that way the ink will come to the top of the stamp pad and be ready for you to stamp when you want to stamp. So you always, in storing these, perhaps in short transit, you can get away with not having them in this direction. But when it comes to the water-based dye ink stamp pads, you want to store them always that the main label that's printed on there already is facing up. We do have storage items. If some of you are always crafting in a craft room, Stampin' Up does have storage items options in their catalog. And it shows you being able to store a marker that matches. And I believe those are Stampin' Right markers that are here because they're round at the end beside them. And we also have place for stamping blends and the ink refills. They're sold individually in pieces that you put together. But I'm more of a portable person when it comes to crafting. I don't have a dedicated craft room. And I use these bags. And I'm just going to lay it down for a second. They're all, let me get one that's over here. These are totally Tiffany bags. This is her Sue bag. It's specifically designed for Stampin' Up stamp pads. So you can find Totally Tiffany occasionally in places like Hobby Lobby and on HSN or some places like that, and get different items. And like I said, this is called, she names them all female names. This is the Sue bag. So when I'm storing these, I store it like this. So as you can see, they're facing the correct way. And there's a little grab handle right here. And I actually, when I'm traveling, I will grab and put that down in a bag. And so I always have mine that way. And I'm kind of focusing on that because from a customer or two and from one of my downlines who happened to either in transit, their pads were too long and not in the correct direction, or since they received them, they may have had them in an incorrect sideways position. You can get some ink seepage, and depending on how long it's sat, you can get quite a bit. So that's why we're talking about ink and ink storage and proper storage of ink. So if it's really excessive, the amount of leaking, it may get to the point where you would have to contact me and I would have to get a hold of Stamping Up. We'd have to figure out a solution for you. But for the most part, if you get them and store them correctly, I've had these and I haven't had any problems. So, but, and while we're here real quick, since I do have some new pads, I bought a bunch. I finally got a purple ladies. I'm not the biggest purple person, but I gotta have them. Oh, and also, real quick, these are the ink refills. There are ink refillers in our catalog on our website for all the colors. This is just a few. In fact, I have more. Anything, I always buy an ink refill when I have a stamp pad, or an ink spot even, because you want to be able to refresh them. The newer stamp pads seem to be very juicy and don't need as much refreshing as some of the older style. And I do have some of the older style from like 3 years ago. And they're probably just getting older. But where did I put them? I just had here they are. These are the ink spots, and we've talked about ink spots before, I think. They come in the paper pumpkins, and they're little ink spots. And if you notice, these, I'm storing them upside down. And then out of an old catalog, I'll cut the little, what color is in there and stick it down to it. But I want that ink to be at the top of the ink pad with my water-based dye inks. So I store properly, because I look and see, and people have their ink pads like this, and you can't tell what they are. And I was showing someone on my ink pads, and they're like, how did you do that? Well, if you open up, when you open up, all of them come sealed. And if you open them up, inside, okay, or on the back actually, we're getting a mess on the floor, girls. So this one's brand new. So there's the pop-up. Pull it around. And they take a little bit to work into working better. But, okay, there, I got them open. On the back, you will see, and I usually use my pick tool, which I don't have at the moment. It says Highland Heather right there. And it says it in French, and it says it in German, and it says it in Japanese, and there's a blank one. These are little, if I can get one up for you. Like I said, take your pick tool, works great for that. But these are little color swatches. So if you pick one up, I don't think I want to put that in the front because it's in Japanese, but I'll put that one back here just to show you. Take your time and line that up, and you can know from that, oops, go one more. Know from this side. Hold on, girls. It's not playing properly. There it goes. Lay it down. There you go. So, and you can put those here. You can put one here. And you can even put one on the inside. I put them too. So I put it there, balmy blue. And then I put one on the inside here. Sometimes when it's open and you're doing different colors, you want to make sure of what color that is. You can tell this is blue, but some colors are dark and you may not exactly know what color. And if you're blending, you don't want to put it in the wrong color. So the other question is how to clean your, so we've talked about, we've got a couple more to talk about. We talked about the basic water-based dye stamp pads and the ink refills. And you can also use the ink refills for spritzing if you mix them with alcohol. And you can also mix them with glycerin. This is a card that I mixed straight ink on a block. There's a live that shows it, and glycerin, and it made a smoother blending ink. All things you can do with that. And we talked about the Stampin' Right. You can use those to color your, and I'll do that and then we'll show you how to clean, but you can use those to specifically color different parts of a stamp. And the other water-based dye is Memento, which is a black. And when it comes to that, you also want to store Memento upside down. So I keep those over in a different one here. Here's my memento. And he was upside down. That keeps your color at the top of your pad. So he's treated the same way. And we also sell the memento refill. So, and all four of these clean similarly. You can clean them either with the Simply Chamois or the misting, which I should have it here somewhere. Oh, well, here's your scrubber and your mister. Oh, I know where it is. Hold on. But this is your Stampin' Scrub and your mister, which is here. So that's used. So you have two choices. The Simply Chamois, I cut mine down. They're usually as big as this, but I cut them smaller when I work with classes. So you use that to clean it, or you can spritz your Stampin' Scrub on one side and dry it on the other. So all four of these inks are done the same way. For those of you that don't use Stampin' Right to color, or as I don't even know if I have a piece of paper to stamp on here, but this right here is a fun kind of stamp to use the Stampin' Rights on as a coloring method. And why I have this taped, I don't know. But why don't we get a yellow and maybe a little bit of the darker color here. If you're going to use a Stampin' Right to color your stamp, I think I'm going to do the yellow first. You want to use the big broad brush tip. And when you do this, well, I do have paper there. I'm just going to stamp it on there to show you. Oh, my son's in the other room. I don't know if you heard that. He's probably playing a game. In January, when he heads off to move in his apartment and do his new job, I will be back in my other workspace. For now, I've been relegated to the small bedroom again, just to try to get some peace for my lives. But so you just gently color the parts of the stamp you want to be one color. It's a lot of fun to do this, actually. And then you will get your other one. And it shows you whether it's a brush tip or the fine tip for writing. And then I want to get the middle to be a different color. So there you go. Now, they tell you have to do a little of your breath, your moist breath on this to make sure that it's still juicy. It does look juicy still, but a lot of times you'll see demonstrators do that. So then when you stamp that, you'll get the two colors. So that's kind of fun. And this is, like I said, the water-based dye. This one hasn't been used for a while. You have to wet your Simply Chamois. That's a brand new one. I wanted to show you that's the color they look like when they're brand new. If you use them a lot, they look like this. And they usually stay wet for a while. And that simply cleans off because it's water-based dye ink. I think most of you are familiar with those inks and have used those. Also, with your markers that are the Stampin' Rights, you want to store them flat. If you store them up or down, one of your tips will be dry, the other one will have all the ink. It's just the way it's just nature. It's gravity. So you want to store these in a flat position. I keep them this way on the shelf, but it just depends on your storage. So let's get these down and out. Is any of that making any sense? Maybe you've learned a few things. Maybe this is all old hat to you. The next thing is, what other inks do we have, right? So I'll get all these out of the way. If you ever have a problem with any of your inks, just let me know and we can sort it out. But hopefully some of this knowledge will help Now, I know a lot of you do heat embossing and have the ability to do that. So you have Versamark. When it comes to Versamark, I store that. Versamark is a pigment-based ink. There are two pigment-based inks that Stampin' Up! Carries. Of course, we have Versamark, and the other one, which is over here, is basically what a lot of crafters call white craft ink, but it's a white pigment ink. Ours is called Whisper White Pigment Ink, and it's in the back of the catalog, and it does come with a refill. Actually, it's sold that way, and you ink it. That is in with my other inks. I would prefer it be upside down, because really when it comes to, well, I said, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. I prefer it be, I like it to be right side up, but in the Stampin' Up's pad, it does flip upside down. So half the time I'll remember and flip it, half the time I don't. So I still have to get a confirmation on why their pad works that way. It may just be that's the whole setup, and are we supposed to flip it around? So I do need to check on that. But my Versamark is always this way up. It's just a sticky ink, and I'm not confident storing it that way. So, like I said, we use this for your heat embossing, and you also use it for tone-on-tone stamping. So if you have a piece of cardstock and you've used this clear sticky ink and you stamp it onto that colored cardstock, it'll be a background. It'll just be a darker color of that color. Being a sticky ink, these take a little longer to dry. You can speed that up with a heat tool if you're doing it just for the tone on tone. Of course, if you're doing the heat embossing, you're going to want to do your embossing glitter powder or whatever, and then heat it. When it comes to, I do have examples of the heat. Most of you know, I believe, but I do have examples of the embossing. This is, of course, we embossed with white, and we did a reverse embossing technique there. I have found with these solid stamps, if you use black embossing powder and Versamark ink, you'll get a much bolder color. You can try to stamp this over and over with water-based dye inks, but it's a much bolder look to these reverse stamps that I found. And this is a basic white heat embossing technique with the embossing powders. You can achieve, because this is kind of a bright whitewashed look. I do not do a lot of craft ink stamping. If you did craft ink with this, it would appear more whitewashed. It would be a lot gentler looking, a lot more modeled. It wouldn't be as vivid. I've also seen, and this is a card from Mary, that she distressed the edge of these flowers with this white pigment ink to give it that really soft look. I don't know if you can see that or not, but she did do that. So a lot of different things about ink. I think I'd like to stamp that just so you can see what we're talking about, and we'll talk about the cleaning of that as well. I'm not sure if there was anything else. I do need to talk about a little bit about coloring and some papers. I'm not sure if I'm going to demo that much because it will take a long time. But before we move on from Versamark, I clean my Versamark. I don't like to clean it on my Simply Chamois. I like to clean it with my Stampin' Scrub. So after I've used a stamp with the Versamark, I'll spray with our regular stamping mist, and then I'll rub the stamp here and then dry it over on the other side. Some people will use baby wipes, but I think I've showed you all this before. I will not use baby wipes because I've seen that baby wipes will put fibers on your stamps, And there's one of my lives where I show that, and you can see, because then I go over it again after I use the baby wipe. Then I use the Simply Chamois, and all the little fibers come off onto the Simply Chamois. So it's just, you do not want fibers to end up on your stamps, because then the fibers are going to interrupt the image when you try to stamp the next time. And when it comes to the Whisper White and cleaning, the craft ink, it's more of an opaque look on dark cardstock, is what they say. That is one where maybe I might use. I haven't worked with it in a long time. I would probably, if I used that and cleaned it on here, then I would want to clean this right away. So that's what I'll say about that. And let's stamp something with that just to see what the look is like, because I know not everyone has seen that. So I have not used this stamp pad in a while. So okay, looks different in there. You can see the ink. It looks sticky like a Versamark. Mine's pink at the moment from something I did, but that's okay. Stamp pads don't always look as pretty as they can, but they work great. But and you can see there's ink on here. So let's see if we can stamp this up and get an image. Like I said, I have not used this in some time. I'll go ahead and use this, I guess. Now, they're considered pigment-based. The last one we'll talk about is the Stays On, which is a permanent ink. It's used for crafting items. I might have too much in there. Let's try this. Just hold it for a minute. Let the ink transfer. It's a sticky ink. It's a thick ink. Oh, that's kind of nice. Now, I don't have a heat tool here to speed this up. We'll set it aside. It kind of gives you a look at the embossing without the embossing. But as it dries, this will lighten up, and it will not look as vivid as heat embossing can get. So I may have talked myself into maybe doing something with craft ink. But if you look, there's a lot of ink on there. I over inked it too. But we did get a good image. So let's set this aside and we'll take a look at it later, if I remember, or if someone reminds me. Now we have to clean this, right? And I don't work with that a lot. So how are we going to clean it? I'm not going to put that on my Simply Chamois. I will go ahead and clean it on here. This is older, and someone will have to tell me who has the Stampin' Scrub. My old one has 3 little dots on one side and an umbrella on the other side. So the 3 little dots is your wet side. So this is, we sell this. It's in a big bottle when we sell it. This is my mom's bottle from ages ago. But this is the new bottle. But I just keep using my mom's bottle. So I don't know. So let's get this off of there. Oh, looks pretty good. And later, usually at the end of the day, if I've used this, definitely today I will. Look how fast that cleaned that. Honestly, I tend to get less inky when I use my scrubbing pad. And that's clean. And then I'll come over here. At the end of the day, when I'm done, I will take these things, slip out. I'm assuming the new ones work that way too. This was my mom's. And then I just rinse that with cold water or warm water in the sink. And leave it to dry, leaned up against the counter on top of a paper towel. There's some crafting down on my block. And for that, I would use a baby wipe just to get my block clean. But I would probably take the stamp off, but since I'm in here, I don't want to lose it right now. We'll just clean that. So that worked very well to clean. All right, moving along. I'm sorry this is long. I know you guys are probably, Laura, hurry up. But this is comprehensive. We're talking about all the inks. So we talked about the Versamark, which way to store it, face up. And I want to clarify with that craft ink, whether it should be one or the other. The last ink I want to talk about is Stays On ink. We sell Stays On ink. I forget right now how many colors we have. I know we always have black. At one point we had a saddle brown. And when it comes to Stays On, you need a special cleaner for Stays On. And you do not ever want to leave your stamps sitting with Stays On it for any length of time. It's not a good ink to leave on your stamp. It doesn't hurt them as long as you clean it off. But you need to get to that right away. So when it comes to Stays On, it's a solvent-based permanent waterproof when dry. So what do you use that for? Well, if you're a crafter, you would use that on if you're making like ornaments, or if you're stamping on window sheet, or maybe if you're stamping on vellum, somewhere where you want that image where it may not always, it's not going to sink in anyway. So you need it to dry. It does dry slowly, and it is permanent. You also use Stays On for watercoloring. Memento is good for working with alcohol. If I read about things, alcohol resistant. So Memento is alcohol resistant. So Memento, when you use that, it's really great with your Stampin' Blends then. Or if you want to use your watercolor pencils and then go over it with a blender pen. Because blender pens, Wink of Stella, and Stampin' Blend are all alcohol-based products, coloring techniques, markers for better choice of a word. What Stays On is for use with your watercolor. And we do have watercolor brushes, and we do sell watercolor paper. So that's what you would use Stays On for. I could demonstrate that, but I think we've gone really long. So maybe we'll do that at another time. Well, I should show you how to clean Stays On too. But let's move on and show you that real quick. We'll stamp one thing. Just one thing, I promise. There are two kinds of papers you can use with Stays On. Definitely with Stays On. When it comes to using Stampin' Blends or coloring with watercolor pencils and blender pens, shimmery white paper is the paper you want to use. If you use normal cardstock, when you're working with the Stampin' Blend, or if you're working specifically if you're working with the blender pens, you can easily start to compromise the paper, which means it'll start to pill and you're going to degrade the quality of the paper. This has a little bit of finish on it, so it holds up better to that blending with the alcohol and getting the inks to blend on the paper, just enough so that they do the coloring. So that's what you use shimmery white paper for, not glossy white. Glossy white is used for a different purpose. Shimmery white is used for those. But when it comes to Stays On and watercoloring, and one reason to use Stays On too is that it's a much more vivid black than Memento. So some people like it for that. Some people just don't like to use it because it's a little trickier to clean. But we do sell watercolor paper. It's and when people do watercoloring, it's because they want to blend, they want the colors to blend on the paper, so the paper kind of becomes part of the art. I do have something that describes that. But at this point, it's about upside down around here, people. Here's one here. So the watercolor paper is used for color blending. So on this side, they're showing you that they're blending the colors on the paper. It actually looks watercolor. This is actually shimmery white used with the blend, the watercolor, and it's a brighter look. So there's the difference there again described. But I will do one thing so that we could at least clean Why don't we do it with this rather than the little doggy? And then we'll move on because I know we want to do the winner, and this seems very long to me, so I'm sure it is today. So let's get this under here and see where we are. So let's say we're going to watercolor this, which I don't know, that's probably too fine to watercolor. Why don't we watercolor the doggy? Let's say we're going to watercolor the doggy. So here he is. This is by the seat of the pants. I didn't practice this, girls. So let's get him in here. We'll just go down there with him. And let's make him saddle brown. These usually come with a little liner in them. And everyone always says they love the color. They love the smell of their Stays-On ink. It smells like almonds. I know that sounds strange, but it does. It smells like almonds. So, all right, there's our little doggy that we're going to watercolor. I might do a little more. Get it nice and bold. And then he has to dry. Oop, hold on. I don't know that you have to leave these little covers in there. I just don't use Stays-On that much. So let him dry, and we can, maybe we'll watercolor him in a different thing. I don't want to, I'll show you real quick. But we do want to clean this stamp because that's what we said we want to do. So here's my Stays-On. It's a dauber on top of there. And you just daub on some of the ink to get that solvent ink off. And then what I usually do is get a paper towel to get the ink off. And then after all that, it will leave some coloring on your stamp. But then I will clean it. After I've done that, I will clean it on my Stampin' Scrub. So, but I just make sure I've got the ink off there. Photopolymer do tend to get a little bit of staining, especially with a red ink, a red-based ink, and there is some red in browns. So, but there's as good as I can get it. And then let's grab that Stampin' Scrub real quick. Oh my goodness, is it a mess here. And you should see all the other things I thought I'd have time to show you. Anybody still out there? I got a couple. Thank you, girls. I hope you're watching TV and me at the same time. Maybe people will come back at some point to see who won. All right, there we go. So that, now I'm sure he's really clean. But it's just all the different types of ink. And I thought we needed to show that today. To watercolor, the best way to watercolor, and I'll just do this extremely quickly here. And I didn't play with this at all. Let me have a crumb cake. That might be too much brown, but to get some, most people get ink on their stamp pad by giving a little CPR to the top and bottom. And then you open it, and then you'll see you have a little ink right there. I don't know if that's the right color for the doggy, but let's just pretend. So this is watercolor paper. It'll hold up to it. So I'll grab a little of the color and put it on my doggy. So that's watercolor. And you can change. You can make it darker, lighter, and you can get some more ink. But that's the basics. And you don't have to worry about the water hurting your doggy at all because it's on watercolor paper. So, and it's a permanent ink. So, but excuse me. But that's, and you just, to clean your watercolor brush, you just squeeze out. So we'll have to do a whole nother class on that sometime. So, but thank you. If you're still out there, go tell everyone I'm going to do the drawing and come back and watch some more. that I finished the demo part. So let me go ahead and turn this up. I did have some examples of coloring and stuff, but we'll get into the coloring and all that later. I just wanted you to know about the proper storage and all the stuff to do with there. So here we go. Come on back up. Oh, hi Tanya, you're still there at least. Thank you for. Hold on. Oh, it's a rough night with this thing. Hold on. Let me get you turned around. Here we go. Hi. Thanks for hanging in there, Tanya. Maybe go tag those that were here before and get them to come back. I'm sure that was long. Didn't intend for it to go that long. Oh, okay. Is there some problem with the video tonight, guys? Oh, I'm so sorry. I wonder why. I do have it on data and not on Wi-Fi, so that is strange. So if anyone's still out there, thank you for hanging in. I am going to have the drawing. I hope that made some sense to you. As I said, I'm going to do 2 winners tonight for everybody, and we won't be having a challenge for a while. I have 2 prizes back here. I've got a box and I've got a bag. So if you guys are still watching, maybe you'll get to pick. If not, we will sort it out. But I have everyone's names ready to go. Oh, goodness. Did that go on for an hour? Sorry. There was a lot to talk about, though. I guess people will watch it and rerun. No wonder why no one's still here. All right, girls, here we go. Let's do the drawing. I should have done a little preview of that, but let's see. Where is everybody? Here we go. Everyone's on the wheel. Ready to go. Hold on. There we go. Are we turned up? Probably. I'm going to push it and we're going to find a winner. I don't know if anyone's still watching. It says there's 2 of you there. So here we go. The first winner is, because there's 2 winners today, 2 prizes. You guys made wonderful tags. First winner. First winner is Cindy. Congratulations, Cindy. Who's watching? Tanya, I know you're there. Who else is out there? Let me see. Uh-oh. See, Sarah was here. Renee's there. Oh, I froze during the presentation. Cindy, I've got you down as the first winner. I will remove you and we will draw winner number 2. We're going. And winner number 2, Rebecca. Whee! Oh, thank you for being there, Sarah. All right, so my 2 winners tonight, I have Cindy and Rebecca. So I need to deliver some catalogs anyway, so I can get these things out, and I can drop Cindy's off to her. And Rebecca, I will send you a text. You usually swing by my house, which would be very much appreciated. And I apologize. Apparently, there were a lot of technological difficulties tonight. I am not sure. I'm sure it's could be my end, could be the cyber world. Your guess is as good as mine. So, to those of you that came back or hung with me, thank you. Good night, everybody. Sorry I went so long. Watch this at your leisure later to learn more about the inks and stamps. And going forward, the mystery code ends at noon on the 28th. The new paper pumpkin, as I predicted, is all about Valentine's. It's cards, and they're heart-shaped cards, and that's the one that you'd have to get on board for by January 10th. And when that mystery code closes on December 28th, I will draw a winner that evening. It'll close at noon on the 28th. And our next Facebook room, our next thing that they will do is in the new year. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy. I'll be here. There won't be a challenge. So if you need anything, you can always reach out to me. But enjoy your families, and enjoy yummy, yummy drinks and lots of holiday cheer. Good night, everyone. Thank you for enduring with me. Bye bye.